Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Here's what's coming up on the program right now. Speaker of the House of Representatives withdraws controversial Anti-Subversion bill that criminalizes refusal to recite the national anthem and insult public officials. And as the duty waiver on some food commodities officially takes effect, the Nigeria Customs Service announces modalities for the implementation of the 0% duty rate and value-added tax exemption on selected basic food items. And the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, assures Edo and Ondo residents of adequate security for the September and November governorship election. Thanks again for joining us on the program. Now, the controversial and arguably obnoxious Anti-Subversion bill by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Abbas Tajuddin, gets our first attention on the show as it has now been withdrawn. The decision follows a public reaction to the bill which seeks to criminalize subversive activities by associations, organizations, militias, cults, bandits, and other proscribed groups in Nigeria. Also imposes prison sentence on those who refuse to recite the national anthem with the intention to cause violence and subvert the government. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to the Speaker of Media, Mr. Musa Keishe, explains that the decision reflects the Speaker's commitment to ensuring that the House remains truly the people's house. The statement explains that the Speaker acknowledges the significance of the concerns raised and the attention the bill has garnered, reaffirming that he will never support any action that might disrupt the peace and unity of our nation. And away from that, the Nigeria Customs Service has announced the modalities for the implementation of the 0% duty rate and value-added tax exemption on selected basic food items. Our customs spokesperson, Mr. Abdullahi Maiwada, in a statement said that presidential approval was communicated through the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Olawale Edu. According to the statement, the policy requires that at least 75% of imported items be sold through recognized commodities exchanges. If a company fails to meet its obligation under the import authorization, it will lose all waivers and must pay the applicable VAT, levies, and import duties. This penalty also applies if the company exports imported items in their original or processed form outside of Nigeria. The policy, which was announced by the President on July the 10th, takes effect from July the 15th to December the 31st and will cover basic food items such as husk brown rice, grain sorghum, millet, maize, wheat, and beans. Let's also tell you that Inspector General of Police and the Office of the National Security Advisor are assuring the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) of adequate security for the conduct of the Edo and Ondo governorship elections. The security chiefs gave the assurances as the Independent National Electoral Commission raised some security concerns ahead of the elections in both states. The NSA is cautioning candidates and their supporters to be careful or face the full wrath of the law. The INEC chairman also gave his remark in that meeting.
Members of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, with representation from the police, military and paramilitary agencies, are holding this security meeting ahead of the Edo and Ondo governorship elections. Campaigns have already begun in the two states where the forthcoming off-circle elections are to be held. However, some recent developments following the ongoing campaigns, especially in Edo State, is giving the electoral body security concerns.
A peaceful campaign often heralds a peaceful election. I urge political parties, candidates and their supporters to maintain the peace as we approach the election day and beyond. For the security agencies, this is the time to be more vigilant. You should leave no stone unturned in dealing with any real or potential threats to the conduct of peaceful and transparent elections.
Nevertheless, the Inspector General of Police and the National Security Advisor, who are both represented at this meeting, assured the electoral body of peaceful conduct of the elections as they vow to bring any who attempt to disrupt the exercise to book.
Those who are to disrupt the election should not mistake the current administration's commitment to peace or weakness. We will defend the integrity of the polls using every lawful means at our disposal. Law enforcement agencies are on high alert and ready to swiftly and decisively deal with anyone trying to undermine the polls.
We will continue to do what we need to do, and we assure the people of the two states and Nigeria at large that this election will come, it will be peaceful, our votes will count, and we will have cause to give thanks to INEC and to other participants during and after the election.
The Edo State governorship election is barely a month away, while that of Ondo State is scheduled for November this year. Unlike other elections in the past, security operatives will definitely have a critical role to play in this exercise.
Let's also tell you that the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, is urging the media to continue to push narrative that criminalizes activities of extremists in the country. The Special Advisor on Strategic Communication in the Office of the NSA, Mr. Zakari Minji-Uyawa, said this when he represented Mr. Ribadu at the media engagement hosted by the National Counter-Terrorism Center in Abuja. He explains that terrorism is decentralized, with ideology spreading across various platforms, and the media plays a key role in reversing the trend.
Prevention Act, and indeed all the strategic national documents developed through this office envisages the role of the media in counter-terrorism. And indeed, since assumption of office, the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, has enabled a transparent, accountable, and result-oriented approach in matters of national security. Decisions of the media on what to report, how to report it, and when to report it can have profound implications, both intended and unintended. The challenges we face today are complex. Terrorism have become more decentralized, with ideologies spreading like wildfire through the very platforms that also serve as vital tools for free expression and democratic discourse. The media, while striving to inform and educate the public, must also navigate this very difficult landscape carefully, ensuring that coverage neither glorifies acts of terror nor inadvertently contributes to the spread of extremist narratives.
All right, so that's coming in from the NSS office. But before I get to my first conversation that has to do with electricity and introduce my guest, let's take you back to our very first story where the bill that was withdrawn, just to give you some highlight on why Nigerians kicked against that particular bill. So this is part of the section. A person who destroyed national symbols, refuses to recite the national anthem, pledge, defaces or abuse a place of worship with the intention to cause violence or subvert the government of Nigeria, commits an offense and is liable to conviction of and is to pay like 5 million naira in prison for up to the term of 10 years. So these are the provisions. So if we go to the next one, I'm just going to run through it. Person, group, organization that persistently constitutes authority or disrespects constituted authority. They define what that means and all of the details, being liable to 7 years. And if you go to the next one, section 18, this is the one. A person who castigates, instigates, persuades, denigrates, embarrasses, or brings into disrepute the leadership of a community, religion, lawful group, local, state, or federal government of Nigeria, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of 4 million imprisonment for a term of 2 years. So how do you define embarrassment? So there are so many lacunas that would have come out from this bill. So it was literally dead on arrival. Nigerians had to raise their voices and say this is going to be hostile to the civic space. This is like gagging the people from freedom of speech. There are multiple interpretations. And the speaker did the honorable thing by withdrawing that bill. So we needed to bring to your attention why that bill was thrown out or withdrawn, not thrown out now. It was withdrawn by the Speaker of the House of Reps. So I just needed to bring you up to speed. But that's not the focus of the conversation for today. Today, I'm being joined in the program and someone who will talk to us about the electricity sector, especially as it concerns you and I. All of us use electricity. We're powering this entire place by electricity, but the prices, electricity hike is biting hard, especially those on Band A. And so we're being joined in the program by Mr. Sunday Oduton, Executive Director, Research and Advocacy, Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
So let's begin with some basics, because you're the spokesperson of the discourse. So let's begin with some basics. There has been an argument as to how much do Band A pay now in terms of units, because that's how Nigerians understand it. If they vent their machines and all of that, they see an amount and they compare it and do the division based on the amount they pay as against the units. How much per unit for Band A users?
What people need to understand is the way electricity units are calculated. Electricity is calculated per kilowatt hour. So it's 209 naira per kilowatt hour. That's what it is.
Is that what we need to call units?
200 and no. The unit is less than that. You use that to when you...
Okay, this is why I say let's start from the basics.
Yes.
I was very deliberate. So
yes.
The other day I recharged, I think I'm on Band B also. I just tried with 1,000 naira. And when I saw the number of units, I did the division. If I divide the number of units by the amount I paid, it came to about 67 naira. That's what I mean. I want to speak as a lay person. So that is for Band B, according to what I was told. I'm in Band B. Band A, bring it to the unit price. How much is it per unit, as I've explained to you? I don't know whether you understand me.
What I'm saying is, what you pay if Band A to Band B, if you are paying 68 naira, 68 naira per kilowatt hour was the payment for even Band A. What happened was that the subsidy on Band A was removed, so Band A went up as much as 226 naira per kilowatt hour. When the naira appreciated against the dollar, the price dropped to 205 naira per kilowatt hour. When there was another upsurge in the exchange rate between naira and the dollar, it went up a little bit again to where it is now, which is 209 naira per kilowatt hour. I think the other thing we need to understand is that today, the people in Band A pay more than all others. They pay more than all others because they are the one paying the true cost, and I emphasize the word, the true cost of electricity in Nigeria, right? Which is talking about the cost of production, the landing cost of electricity, cost without subsidy. They are the one paying without any government subsidizing them. All others, like yourself in Band B, you are still being subsidized by government for as much as 67%. So what you pay is not what you are supposed to be paying, right? But even the Band A customers who are currently paying the highest in Nigeria, they are the lowest, they pay the lowest tariff in the whole of West Africa.
You see,
and that's very important.
Just hold on, sir.
Okay.
I will allow you land. You know, when the government or people in charge give that narrative, it almost makes some people squirm on their chair. So exactly what is the crime in government helping you to live better? So, because when we push back and say, these things is expensive for our people, and then you begin to draw comparison. And when we draw comparison as to fundamentals of how those people have built their society better than ours, everybody pushes back. So does it really make sense that every time we say, what is the crime if Nigerians pay less than every other person? What is wrong?
It makes a lot of sense because I'm not comparing the cost of electricity in Nigeria to that of United Kingdom where I lived for 32 years. I'm not saying that. I'm saying at the backyard here, our neighbors in Ghana, Mali, Burkina Faso, Senegal, right? And when you go there, the first thing, tell you journalists, you go to Ghana, you come back and tell us, see what they are doing in Ghana. You cannot even give us carbon electricity. But you fail to understand the fact that they pay for it. That's why the people who supply it are able to cover their costs. That's why they're able to get enough capital to inject back into the system. So the issue is very simple. It is simple, and let me quickly. I would like to quote Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the president of ADB. He said, "No economy can grow in the dark. No economy can industrialize in the dark, and of course, no economy can be competitive in the dark." We all know and we all agree that for any country to industrialize, for there to be progress in the health sector or education sector, we need electricity. And for there to be electricity, we need investment. And the sole purpose of any investment anywhere, including Channel TV, the investor of Channel TV would not have remained in business if Mr. Momo couldn't and can't recover his costs. So cost recovery is central. So when we're talking about that, another thing is that when you now say your government, Nigerian government, should subsidize things, for me as a person, I have no problem with that. If they can afford it, and if they are able to keep up with it. The government of Mr. Jonathan in 2013, and thank God I was in this country, I was part of I was in the sector right from the beginning. When I came back to Nigeria on November 1st, 2013, part of what the government of Mr. Jonathan promised was that they will pay the outstanding subsidy. Okay, so they never did. Okay, Not that they didn't want to pay, but they didn't have the money to pay. Nigeria cannot carry this burden.
As journalists, our job is to put the facts on ground.
Yes.
Nobody can come and blackmail the population for the failure of government. If government, in trying to privatize the sector, failed in doing the right thing, I don't think the people should be blamed. That's why we put people in charge to run the government at the end of the day. So nobody should come and blame the people. The people have said, we want light at the end of the day. Now, there are two problems. There's the one problem of paying high tariff. There's a problem of not even seeing the light. Let me tell you something. I read something from the Osodoke, Mr. Emmanuel Osodoke of ASU. He's been crying out as to what the electricity tariff is doing to university community. And he said before tariff increases, all 274 universities in Nigeria were spending a monthly about 5 billion monthly and 63 billion yearly. As this currently, it has increased now. They pay 21 billion monthly and 257 billion yearly. That is killing. How do we survive?
Okay. Number one, we should not continue to make the mistake that we've been making since 1960. Like this person, all he did was to lump it all together. Take each and every university, treat each case on its own merit, okay? And then we can now discuss the larger issue of how do we fund our universities? How is it that you won't hear complaint from the University of Oxford or Cambridge? How come that we're having all these issues with our institution, issues around funding? Funding or no funding has little or nothing to do with service providers, okay? So it's either you want the service and you get it, or you don't want the service and you don't get it. And when we talk about service-based tariff, we're saying a tariff that is based on the service that you receive. And sentiment and emotion apart, is either we get the required funding that will send the right signal to lenders.
So because of time,
and investors.
So because of time,
we need to be
you
honest
said band A is not being subsidized. So is this giving investors some level of confidence to invest in the sector? How far-reaching is that in the first place?
It's just a pathway. It's the beginning, right? It's a pathway to recovery, because at the end of the day, we had a lot of shortfall as far back as 2013. That's what I was saying earlier on, whereby the government were owing so much in unpaid subsidies. And if this government came on board and said, you know what, we can't continue to carry the burden. Only 16% of our customers are in Band A, for God's sake, just 16%.
Are they getting the required number?
They are getting it.
Not true.
And those who are not getting it, I'll give you fact.
Not entirely
Mention
true.
anywhere in Nigeria and I'll give you the fact. Now, and I'll give you some examples.
Give me examples.
In Abuja, There's an estate called Sun City Estate.
You know, people are watching and listening to you.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
yes.
I'm sure they will be
I'm an
reacting.
Egba, where I come from, we don't lie.
It's not.
No,
It's not about any.
It is.
No, this is. We're talking about Nigeria.
I'm saying that I will not stand before the world and lie to anybody for anything. No, I'm not here to polish the image of the discourse.
Band A is supposed to get
now,
20 hours plus, right?
I give an example.
No, let's move
There's
past
an estate called Sun City Estate in Abuja, right? They were in Band A. But at a point when the Abuja Disco realized that they couldn't push the power to that quantum for them, about 1,000 houses in one estate, they were downgraded a few months ago to Band B. Why? Because the Disco know that they cannot get them that average of 20 hours in a 30-day period, okay? They were downgraded back to Band B. So we have that. But here in Lagos, along Gorodu Road, somewhere around Odepano, there's an area there where Ikeja Electric has upgraded them from Band B to Band A, even though they are now complaining.
So this upgrade, is it mandatory? Is it voluntary? How do you make the decision? Because, for instance, I said, I guess I'm in Band B, from what I was told. I don't know all these technical things. So if tomorrow I'm told I'm upgraded to Band A, nobody perhaps would have sought how does it work? How do you make that decision?
Okay.
Is it the government or is it Discos? Who makes that decision?
Okay, the decision is made by the regulator in conjunction with the Disco concerned. We're a heavily regulated industry. Issues to do with tariff or any of these things is done by a regulator, which the Disco concerned. The Disco gives, if the Disco can say, okay, I can do this, and we're monitored. We're even sometimes punished once we fail to live up to our mandate.
That is where I wanted to come to. The punishment now, as you're answering this other question, I'm rushing because of time, my apologies. The punishment now, when you Discos fail, because the average Nigerian, what will you do? We're traumatized already. So going through another litigation is just a waste of time sometimes for some people. So who penalizes you and what is the kind of penalty?
Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission.
What kind of penalty? And
How do we
consumers get?
You need to ask them.
No, you are the one that's
public.
been penalized.
No. It's a public corporation owned by the federal government, the regulators. They are there and they have a website. These are very hardworking people, and punished? They do their thing. Let
me speak to the.
We are fined, heavy fine, millions, and I don't want to mention. There's a particular Disco now that's paying almost $1 billion in fine.
No, you don't think they deserve to pay $1 billion in fine from what you discussed?
I'm not disputing that. Once you do what you're not supposed to do, or you fail to do what you're supposed to do, you'll be fined. Because we know that we'll be fined, that's why we up our game. Things has improved. I was on this program in 2021. Today, compared with that day, then we are doing better now than that time. And going back to your question, I was trying to answer that question on movement to Band A.
Yeah, please do.
The ideal thing, two things I would say. Every single household in Nigeria ought to be metered. That's number one. Every single household in Nigeria should be on Band A, if you ask me. In other words, Nigeria should be inching towards uninterrupted power supply. We should be aware of the fact that Nigeria needs to have electricity. So if you're on Band B or Band C or Band D, you should not be happy to be on Band D. But if you want to go to Band A, you should be prepared to pay for Band A. If you want to eat bread, you have to pay for the loaf of bread.
This thing is This thing is called basic service. And then I'm thinking about the people in the rural area that are barely scrapping the surface to get life and get
Don't bother yourself about that one. We have a special thing for people in the rural area. If you go on the website of our regulators, you'll see people in the rural area are billed differently, right?
They're not in any of these bands?
No, they are in the bands, but the way their tariff is calculated is different. Go on the website of NERC. These are not heartless people. What they do is to try and make things easy and better. And for those 16% who are on Band A.
Is it the entire country, 16%, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Of our customers. Those are people on Band A. So when I even hear the noise, I wonder. So 16% don't want electricity.
16% is significant, actually, for a 200 million population. It's still significant. Anything 16% is like tight. It's like commission when you do business. So it's quite significant. It's not.
So 16 out of 100 people are enjoying good electricity. So you don't want us to give it a penny to the others.
You know, it is ideal that everybody gets the service.
Let us get it.
But people need to be able to pay for it. Our purchasing power is low. You understand? Now, let's go to the issue of meters now. You talked about it, so let's get there before we wrap up. How much is a meter now? Let's say single phase and all of that.
I don't know that off head, but I can tell you that everybody who have access to the internet can check it. I know that for three-phase meter, it's about 180-something thousand naira now. Again, the movement in the price or the cost of meters is due to the forex problem. And let me again emphasize the fact that meters are not supplied directly by the discos. We have external meter manufacturers, third-party meter manufacturers that are accredited by our regulators. And these people too need to have access to loan on a single-digit rate. These people too need to be able to recover their costs.
You see, when it comes to your own business now, you're looking at all the incentives that should come.
When I now push back on behalf of the
Nigerian people,
I'm talking about meter manufacturers. No, for us as a people, and can have those who jackpot, when you live in sane climate, every month as you collect your salary, the first thing you think about are your bills, utility bills.
Okay.
Pay your bill.
So your last...
can't enjoy electricity free of charge. It's not a social service.
I understand perfectly.
Pay
But
for
it should be an affordable, available social service. Your last thought in 30 seconds on this.
Well,
30 seconds.
I want all Nigerians to know that for us to be able to supply you with electricity, we need to be able to make it happen. To make it happen, we need to be able to recover the cost, have the necessary incentive to be able to invest in it with the aim of recovering the cost back. Please pay your bill, and we'll do all our best to serve you better.
Mr. Sunday Oduton, Executive Director, Research Advocacy Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. So we'll make a case for you, for government to give you incentives, single digits, but you also help us and make this electricity affordable. Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.